Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be solving this coding problem from LeetCode. The idea here is to understand how we should be approaching a coding problem while solving it. So starting from a naive solution, we'll see how we can get to an optimal solution. In this video, we will see the different approaches to solve this problem, and we'll also see the Kotlin and Java solution of this particular problem. Before starting this video, let me tell you that this video is a part of our competitive programming series. If you haven't watched that playlist yet, I would highly recommend you to watch it to enhance your competitive programming skills. And also, if you're new to this channel and you are interested in competitive programming or any other tech related stuff, you can check out the content on our channel. And if you like the content, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So let's start with this video. So here, this is 442 problem from LeetCode. Find all duplicates in an array. So let's go through the problem description. So as you can see here, you can get the number of likes and dislikes on this particular problem. This basically tells you how good this problem is. So let's go through the problem description. Here, given an array of integers ranging from 1 to n, where n is the size of array, some element appear twice and other appear once. Okay. Find all the elements that appear twice in this array. Could you do it without extra space and in order of n runtime? So here you will be given an array of integers where you need to find those elements which appear twice. Here you will mostly get two types of elements, one which will appear only once and others which will appear twice. So our task is to find those elements which appear twice. So for example, let's say if you have given this array of integers, then the output would be 2 and 3, because if you see these two numbers appear twice, right? First we will start with the very naive approach and then we'll see how we can get to an optimal solution. So let's go to the IntelliJ Scratch file where I'll show you the different approaches. So the first approach and the very basic approach to this problem would be to iterate through all the elements just to check the count for each element, and for that you can use a nested loop. So something like this. So we can simply iterate through each element to check its count using the nested loops. Here we are using the nested loop because for each element we'll be scanning the entire array to check the number of count for that particular element, and this approach will take the order of n square time complexity and order of 1 space complexity. So as we know that order of n square is not that good. In order to optimize this to some better time complexity, what we can do is we can make use of some data structures like hash map. So for this, let's say you have a hash map and then you iterate through your array, okay, and then you insert each element with its count in the hash map. So what you basically do, so here I'll simply check if this hash map has this element. If it does not contain this element, then I'll simply put this element with a count of 1, and if it is present in this particular hash map, then I'll simply increment the count, okay. And similarly, once we are done with all the elements of array, we can simply scan the hash map to search elements with count 2. So here if you see, the time complexity would be order of n, because to perform this operation, first you need to iterate the array once and then you need to scan the hash map once. So it is taking 2 pass, right? That means 2n. So we can say that the time complexity here is order of n, and here the space complexity is order of n because we are using a extra data structure which is a hash map. So from here what we can think next is we have done a good job for the time complexity, but for space complexity we have order of n complexity. So now we should be focusing that if we can reduce this space complexity, right? So in that case what we can do is we can have our approach 3 for this problem. So in approach 3 I'll explain the approach in the presentation, but before that let me tell you that I'll be able to solve this particular problem in order of n time complexity and with order of 1 space complexity. So before jumping to the approach 3, let's first see the problem statement again and let's see if we can take some hint from the problem statement itself. So here is the problem description where it says that given an array of integers ranging from 1 to n and n is the size of array. So here we can simply say that each element will lie between 1 to n. So here with this criteria, let's see if we can come up with something. So what we know that we will be given an array of integers whose length will be n, and the elements within this will lie between 1 to n. That means if you see this input here, we know that the length of array here is 8. So if you notice, the valid indexes for this would be 0 to 7, right? So here by using the elements of array, we can get a valid index by subtracting 1. So let's say if I take this element and if I subtract 1, then I'll get 3, right, which will be a valid index because our valid indexes are from 0 to 7. So let's say the maximum element here is 8, right, and if we subtract 1 from this element, you will get a 7, which will be a valid index again. So by using this property, we can simply traverse this array of integers in such a way that we can get the numbers which appears twice. So to understand this more clearly, what we can do is we can come to this presentation to see how this works. We'll do a dry run on this approach. Okay, so let's see. Let's, for example, we have this array as an input where we have 4 3 2 2 3. Okay, and here just by looking into this array, we can say that 3 and 2 will be the output because these two numbers appear twice, right? So here the valid index would be 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, and as I mentioned, you can get these indexes from any of your element because this element ranges from 1 to n. That means you can simply subtract 1 from any of this element and you will get a valid index which will lie between 0 to 4. Okay, so by keeping that property in mind, let's do a dry run and let's see what we can do next. So the idea here is that as we know that the number will lie between 1 to n, that means we will always have a positive numbers, right? So if you see the problem statement again, the range is from 1 to n and this will obviously a positive range, right? So the idea here is that whenever you check one element, just mark that particular element as negative. And with that, we will come to know that this number is already checked. So we'll start with the number 4, but we will not just mark this number as negative. For that, what we will do, I'll tell you. So the first thing we'll do is we'll start with the very first element. We'll see the value. The value here is 4. And what we'll do, we'll get the index out of this. So from this, I'll simply subtract 1, which will give me the index 3. That means I'll be pointing here. And now at this particular index, we have this value 2, right? So what we'll be doing, we'll simply mark this as a negative number. Now in place of 2, we'll simply put -2. Okay. Similarly, next we'll move to the next element, which is 3. And here the value is 3 and we'll subtract -1 and we'll get 2, which is again a valid index, right? This is your index. And here the element is 2. Now we'll simply mark this as a negative number. Similarly, we will move forward. Here we'll get -2. From here as well, we'll try to get an index. And for that, we'll simply take the absolute value of this particular element, which will be 2, and then we'll subtract 1 and we'll get 1. So here the index would be 1. So at this point, we have a positive number, which is 3, and we'll simply mark this as a negative 1. Okay, and then simply we'll move forward. For the next element, we have -2, and from here, after taking the absolute value of this element, we will get 2 minus 1, which will give me a index 1. Now at index 1, we already have a negative number, right? So as I mentioned that whenever we'll see a negative number, that means we have already visited this number. So as I mentioned earlier, as soon as you get a negative number, that means you have already visited that number once. That means this is the second time you are visiting it. So we can simply add this value to our resultant array, right? Now we have this 3 in our resultant array. That means this number appears twice in this particular given array. And now we'll move forward. Now the next number is 3. From here we'll get our index 2. And at index 2, we again see a negative number. That means this is also appearing twice in this given array. So we will simply add this to our resultant array. Okay, now we have 3 and 2 as a result. And now as we have reached the end of the array, we can simply return 3 and 2, which is our expected output. So here if you see, we have traversed this array only once and we have all the values which appears twice. That means it took only order of n time complexity, and also we haven't used any extra space. That means the space complexity would be order of 1. So here in approach 3, we can say that the time complexity is of order of n and the space complexity is of order of 1. So I hope the approach is clear and also the intuition behind it, where we have used this particular information of this particular range and then we simply get our optimal solution. So now we'll see Kotlin and Java solution for this particular problem. So here is the Java solution for this problem. Here, the very first thing I did is I created this integer array where I have initialized this with this particular elements, and then I have simply written this function which takes integer array as a parameter, and then I have created a resultant list, and then I'm iterating through this array where I'm just calculating the index by taking the absolute value of every element, and I'm subtracting 1 from it to get a valid index, and then I'm checking if this particular index is less than 0. That means this appears twice. So I'll simply add this particular element in the resultant array just by adding 1 to it, because here we are subtracting 1 to get this particular index. So simply by adding 1 you will get that particular element, right, which appears twice. And after this we are simply marking the element at this particular index by a negative sign, and at the end I am simply returning this resultant array. So for this given array, let's see the output. So here you can see we got 2 and 3, which appears twice. Similarly, we'll see the Kotlin solution. So here I have written this main function where I'm creating integer array with these elements, and then I have written this method where I'm taking int array as a parameter. Here inside this method I have created a mutable list where I'll be keeping all the result, and then I'm simply iterating through this integer where I'm calculating the index just by taking the absolute value of each element and subtracting 1, and then I'm checking if the value at this index is less than 0, then I'm simply adding this to my resultant list, and then I'm marking the element at this particular index with a negative sign. Okay, and after the end of this iteration you will simply get your resultant list, right? So if you run this, you'll get the similar output 2 and 3. So I hope the code is clear to you. Here the code is quite simple, but the idea here is to understand the problem and the intuition how you can come up with such optimal solution in your any interview process. So that's all about this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and also if you're new to this channel and interested in competitive programming, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to upload more such videos which will help you to crack your coding interviews. Thank you for watching.